Hey Jack, thanks for reaching out asking about the Unit 10 test. I'll go over it quickly, and hopefully this helps a little bit. So before we begin, I just want to talk about a few formulas that we need to know before we take this test. The first one is C equals pi d, or C equals 2 pi r. That's circumference of a circle equals the diameter times pi, which for this entire test, every time I see pi, I'm going to be using 3.14, okay? Or the circumference of a circle equals 2 times the radius times pi, since 2 times the radius and diameter are the same thing, okay? We're also going to need to know that for a rectangle, area equals length times width. We're going to need to know that for a triangle, area equals half the base times the height, and for a circle, area equals pi times the radius squared. I do think that's all of the formulas that we need for this particular test, okay? But obviously we also went through other formulas through this unit. All right, question number 1, which of these statements is true? The diameter of a circle is equal to the radius. Well, we know that's not true because the diameter goes all the way across the circle. The radius goes halfway across the circle. So that one's not true. The radius of a circle is 3 times the diameter? No. We need 2 radiuses to make 1 diameter. The radius and the diameter are not related. We know that's not a fact because 2 radiuses make 1 diameter. And the diameter of the circle is twice as long as the radius. That is true. Okay, 1 diameter equals 2 radii put together. Okay, in the drawing of the corner of this, so we know that this square has a perimeter of 24 centimeters. So since a square has all sides that are the same, if this has a perimeter of 24, that means that each side of this square must be 6, because 6 plus 6 plus 6 plus 6 equals 24. Now, they want to know the circumference of the circle. Well, if this from the middle of our circle to the outer edge of our circle is 6, then that means that the radius is 6 centimeters. And if we want to know the circumference, now we're going to go back to the formula C equals 2 pi r, which is C equals 2 times 3.14 times 6, and we get 37.68. Okay, so that's going to be 37.7 right there. Okay, flexible wires bent to the arc below. If the length of AB is 18, find the length of the wire. So they just want to know this right here. Well, all we're doing here is we're recognizing the fact that this happens to be half of a circle. Okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to find the circumference of this circle all the way around, and then we're going to cut it in half at the very end. All right? So the first thing that we need to do is we need to realize that this 18 is the diameter of a full circle. So we're going to have to cut it in half to get the radius, or we could actually just use it as, never mind, since we're finding circumference of the whole thing, I would cut it in half, but it doesn't matter. We can use C equals pi d, because this is the diameter, right? So C equals 3.14 times 18, which is 56.52. So that means that if we, meters, sorry. That means that if we went all the way around, it would be 56.52, but we're only going halfway around. So now we're going to divide this by 2, and we get 28.26, and so that's going to be your answer for that one. Okay, finding the area of the shaded region. Well, we have one square inside another square to make the shaded region. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to find the area of this whole square. And then if I subtract the area of this inside square, see how all I'm left with is now this shaded part. So that's exactly what I'm going to do here. Okay, so I'm going to first find the area of the larger square, which is 4 times 4, which is 16. Then the area of the smaller square is 2 by 2, which is 4. And when I do 16 minus 4, I get 12. So that means that this shaded part must be 12 centimeters squared, or 12 squared centimeters. Okay. The next question, Wilbur wants to make a pond in his backyard. I know that you came in for a little bit of extra help on this one. I'm not sure if you got it right or not. I'm pretty sure you did. But he starts with a circle with a radius of 30 meters, and he wants to make it into a radius of 40 meters. How much space will his pond cover? So this is exactly like this last question up here, except with circles. So Wilbur's starting with this pond, and it has a radius of 30. He's going to increase it to have a radius of 40. So he's going to increase it 10 meters on each side. But that's all we need, because if we need to know how much more space his pond will cover in his yard, now what we're going to do is we're going to end with a pond that has a radius of 40, and we start with a pond that has a radius of 30. So by finding the difference in these areas, it'll tell us the difference in our area. So first we're going to, where we ended, so we do pi r squared, 3.14 times 40 squared. So the new pond is going to have, oh, see how everybody's pi? So the new the area is, and I'm trying to be a little bit fast here, so I apologize, pi times 40 squared, which is 1,600 pi, right? Now, obviously, because all my answers have pi in them, I'm going to leave it right there. So this one was here just to show you that that would have been the area of the new pool, but remember, or pond. But the new, it said how much more space he needs, so we need to subtract what the area of the pond was. So the pond used to be pi times 30 squared, which used to be 900 pi. So if the new area is 1600 pi and the old area is 900 pi, the difference is 700 pi. Okay? All right. Next question. The area of the rectangle is 72. What's the length? Okay, so we know that for a rectangle, area equals length times width. We know the area is 72. We know the length. We know the length is 4. The width we don't know. So we divide by 4. We divide by 4, and 72 divided by 4 equals 18. Okay. All right. A rectangle and equilateral triangle both have the side length of 36. So it's important to draw both of these. So we have a rectangle and we have an equilateral triangle, and they both have a side length of 36. Okay? The perimeter of the two shapes are equal. Well, the key here is an equilateral triangle. If this is 36 and this is 36 and this is 36, so this has a perimeter of 108. So that means that this, we know this is 36. We don't know this and we don't know this, but we know that it all adds up to the same perimeter of 108. So we could say that the perimeter, which is 108 of this rectangle, is found by adding 36 plus 36 plus x, which is 72 plus 2x, and now we can solve for x. First we subtract 72, so we get 36 equals 2x, then we divide by 2, and we find that x must equal 18. Now if we plugged 18 into this, and we did 36 plus 18 plus 36 plus 18, we would get 108. Oh, but they want to know the area. So now we can check to see that that was 108. for a perimeter. So for area, we're going to do length times width. So now we do 36 times 18, and we get 648. So that one last step might have confused some people, but hopefully you understand where that came from. Okay? All right. So in this one, we know the radius, because this is the radius right here. And they said, what is the circumference? So we're literally just going to use, and the area. So we want to know the circumference and the area. So we're going to use C equals 2 pi r. C equals 2 times 3.14 times 4. C equals 25.12. Then for area, we're going to use the formula area equals pi r squared. So area equals 3.14 times 4 squared. 4 squared is 16. 16 times 3.14 is 50.24. And then there's your answer for that question. You'd have to write both of those in there. Okay. The area of a semicircle, again, just like when we had that arc, we found the area of, or we found the whole circumference, and then we divided by 2. We're going to do the same thing here. We're going to find the whole area, and then we're going to divide it by 2. But area needs the radius, right? We are given 8 centimeters all the way across, so we're going to have to cut it in half to find out that the radius equals 4. So we have area equals 3.14 times 4 squared. That should look familiar, because that is what this one was right here. So the area of the whole thing is 50.24, but this is only half of a circle, so then you're going to divide by 2, not plus, divide by 2, and you get area equals 25.12, and there's your area of that semicircle. Okay? A circle has a circumference of 150 inches. What is the radius? So we're talking about circumference, and we're talking about radius. So we're going to use this formula. The circumference is 150. 2 times 3.14 times r, which we don't know, but we can do 2 times 3.14 first. And we get 150 equals 6.28 times r. Now we're going to use division to solve for r, so we're going to divide both sides by 6.28. And we get 23.88 blah 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 equals r, which it says around in there is tenth, so it's 23.9. Okay, and I didn't take off for incorrect rounding. Okay, moving on to this next problem. So this rectangular field is covered by circular sprinklers. So basically what they want to know is, this field right here, this entire rectangle, has sprinklers all around it. But the sprinklers go in a circle, so obviously they don't hit these sections over here, right? So they want to know what part of the field, how much of the field doesn't get hit by the sprinklers. So just like all the other problems, we're going to find the area of this entire rectangle and then subtract the area of each of these circles. Now what's nice though is each of these circles is the same size, so we really only need to find one circle, multiply it by 8, and then subtract that. So the first thing we have here is a rectangular area is 3,200 feet squared, because it's 80 by 40. Then this 20 feet right here means it has a radius of 10, so the area is going to be 3.14 times 10 squared, or 314 feet squared for each one of these sprinklers. But there are 8 of them, so it has a total area of 2,512 feet squared. So you're going to take the 3,200, subtract the 2,512, 2,512, and you get 688 feet squared that does not get covered. All right, I'm going to do the last 3 problems on another video because it only gives me 15 minutes, and then I'll upload the entire thing for you to take a look at. Okay.